Hey everyone, and welcome. So, if you're trying to break into tech, you have definitely heard those three letters DSA, data structures and algorithms. And let's be honest, it can feel like this huge, confusing mountain to climb. Well, today, we're going to change that. We're going to lay out a super clear, essential roadmap to get you from totally confused to completely confident. If you've ever just stared at all the topics, graphs, trees, sorting, all of it, and just felt completely overwhelmed, trust me, you are not alone. That is a totally normal feeling. But don't worry, the entire goal here is to cut right through all that noise and give you a simple, straight path to follow. So here's our game plan, broken down into 5 key stops. First, we'll talk about choosing your language. Then we'll pull back the curtain on what companies actually want to see. After that, I'll give you the step-by-step roadmap. We'll follow that with a much-needed reality check, and finally, we'll talk about what it really means to be job-ready. All right, first things first. Every journey needs a vehicle, right? And in the world of DSA, your programming language is that vehicle. But here's the thing you really need to get. DSA is all about logic. It's about how you think, not the specific syntax of the language you're using. So which vehicle should you pick? Well, Python is fantastic for beginners. The syntax is so clean, it lets you focus on the actual logic, not the boilerplate. Then you've got Java, a total powerhouse with a really strong structure that a ton of companies use. It's great for interviews. And of course, there's C++, which is all about raw speed and power, a huge favorite in competitive programming. But listen, this is probably the most important thing I'll say in this section. If you already know one of these languages, just stick with it. Seriously. Don't waste weeks or months trying to switch. Being consistent and really comfortable with your tool is so much more valuable than trying to find the perfect language. Okay, so we've picked our vehicle. Now let's get a really clear picture of our destination. What are companies actually looking for when they grill you on DSA? Because I promise you, it's probably not what you think. You might be surprised to hear that companies don't expect you to be a grandmaster of every complex algorithm out there. Nope, they're looking for a solid foundation. This list right here, arrays, strings, recursion, all the way down to basic tree concepts. This is your core toolkit. You master these and you are well on your way. So they ask you a question about arrays or trees, but is that really what they're testing? Is it just about whether you memorized a solution? Not at all. There's a much deeper question being asked here. This is it. This is the whole game. They want to see how you think. Can you take a big, messy problem and break it down? Can you explain your logic out loud, nice and clear? Can you think of a brute force solution? And then, can you optimize it? Can you think about the edge cases? DSA is just the sandbox they use to watch your mind work. Okay, let's get to the heart of it. Your actual step-by-step learning path. This is the exact order you should follow to build your knowledge from the ground up without getting lost by jumping into super advanced stuff way too early. You start with arrays. They are the absolute building block of almost everything else. Then move to strings. After that, you've got to tackle recursion. I know, it can be tricky, but it's a way of thinking that just unlocks so many other solutions. Once that clicks, you move to sorting, searching, stacks, and queues. Only then do you start to approach linked lists and the basics of trees. And notice what's not here. Complex stuff like graphs. That comes way later. Don't jump ahead. And hey, the great news is you don't have to learn this in a vacuum. There are some incredible free resources out there. Here are just a few of the best YouTube channels broken down by language. But here's a pro tip, and this is a big one. Pick one creator and follow their playlist. Hopping between 10 different teachers is a recipe for tutorial hell. Just trust one guide and see the journey through. So, you have your vehicle, you know the destination, and you've got the map. Perfect. But before you hit the road, we need to have a quick, honest chat about the journey itself. And look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Learning DSA is not easy. You are going to struggle. You will absolutely get stuck on a problem for hours, maybe even days. You will see more red error messages than you can even count. But listen, that's not a sign of failure. That's the sound of your brain getting stronger. The struggle is literally where all the learning happens. So what's the secret to actually making progress through the struggle? It's kind of funny, but the key is to do less than you think. Real, sustainable success looks like this number. 1 to 2 problems. That's it. Not 10, not 20. The goal isn't to burn out, it's to build a habit that you can stick with. Solving just one or two problems every single day for 6 months, that can genuinely change your entire career. And that leads us to this massive truth. Motivation, it's a feeling. It's awesome when it's there, but it comes and goes. You can't rely on it. But consistency is an action. It's a system. It's about showing up on the days you don't feel like it. And that right there is what separates the people who succeed from the people who don't. Okay, let's bring this all home. We've talked about the skills, the roadmap, the mindset. But what does job ready actually look like in the competitive market of 2026? See, DSA is absolutely critical, but it's one piece of a much bigger puzzle. Today, companies want the whole package. They want you to have strong fundamentals, your sharp DSA problem-solving skills, and real project experience to prove you can actually build stuff. They're going to look at your GitHub to see if you're active, and they'll test your communication skills to see if you can actually work with a team. It's also really smart to know your audience. As a general rule, those big product-based companies, they are going to focus very, very heavily on your DSA skills in the interviews. Service-based companies, on the other hand, they might put a little more weight on your fundamentals and the actual projects you've built. Knowing this can help you tailor your prep. So there it is. The path is clear. Hopefully the confusion is gone. We've laid out the language, the key topics, the exact order to learn them, the right mindset to have, and what the market actually demands. The only question left is, now that you have the map, where are you going to go first?